Shalom, everyone, and welcome to this week's update. And again, Gilla Treibich is with us. Many of you know her. Been on many trips with GLC tours and worked on many projects. And then again, we have Roy Shaposhnik, who is the Barak Brigade 188. He's the chairman of the association. And you have a special guest today, Roy. Can you
That's true.
give us an introduction?
First of all, shalom, everybody. Good to be here once again. Hi, Gilla, Joe. Good to see you.
Hi, hello.
Today, I'm honored to have over here together with me the brigade deputy commander, Lieutenant Colonel Ariel Ehrlich. We call him Ari. And by the way, his English is by far much better than I. So, shalom.
Hello.
Thank you very much for having you here.
Be here.
Yeah, we're honored, Ari. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so, we're the Beavis family. That's news all over the place here. The tragic loss. Thank God for the return of all the bodies, but it brings back to the surface the October 7th tragedy. And I understand there's going to be a big release of hostages this weekend, a big relative to what we've been having. So, Roy, what can you tell us?
So first of all, unfortunately, what we've knew for many weeks, months, that the Bivas family, unfortunately, is not alive. It is officially, and today, Hamas, in a very disgusting ceremony, released the bodies and made a fuss out of it. I think a short and small testimonial of how mean those terrorists are by using the bodies of 3 of the Bibas and of course the Lifshitz. I think it's sad that the world all of a sudden realize once again who is Hamas and what we are dealing with. The release of the 4 bodies today was a part of the first phase of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, and it comes into the phase that this coming Saturday, 2 days from now, Hamas is going to release 6 more humanitarian hostages. I'm saying humanitarian because based on the agreement, they are under humanitarian condition, meaning they are sick or wounded, and they need to be released. That release is going to happen instead of 3, and next week another 3. Hamas has decided to do that together, and Israel obviously is doing her role in this agreement, and we will release the terrorists that are sitting in our prisons in return. It's sad. It puts everything in the right context, because on the 7th of October, we all realized why we are fighting and what we are fighting for.
Yep.
And, in the last couple of months, the world, mainly the European Union, jumped and said that we should stop. I think today's ceremony, I can't even call it ceremony, but today this stupid act of Hamas just once again showed the world who is Hamas and why we need to eliminate it. And again, I'm saying it as a free citizen of the Israelis, and it's my personal opinion, but again, sad, very angry. It puts you in such a kind of a weird and a mixed feelings, emotional feelings about everything that we saw today.
I just want to say it's cynical, but you see the hypocrisy of the world, because everybody is up in arms. The world loves dead Jews, but when it comes to helping us defend ourselves, not so easy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's sad. It's very sad.
True. And I must remind you all, and I'm using the fact that we are talking every week, the Bibas family, among the others, were at home. Wake
Yeah.
up on Saturday morning on the sound of a siren because of the alert. They are not the soldiers. They didn't attack. I remind you all, Israel didn't attack Gaza or Hamas on the 7th of October. They were kidnapped from their own house. And my
From the
thought,
cribs. From the cribs. The babies were
correct.
taken from their cribs.
And
Yeah.
we all need to remind that our thoughts and prayers are now with Yarden Bibas, the father and the husband. And you know what? Even though the family knew, and I'm sure that he knew, I mean, we were told, if I'm not mistaken, that
That
even
he
in
knew. He knew.
when he was in kidnapped, he knew about it.
It was told that during when he was hostage, he didn't actually know, or he was told different things by Hamas. Again, they used a lot of psychological warfare against our hostages that we know from what they said when they came back. But I think he was informed when he came back, and today, unfortunately, the news was confirmed. And it's like Roy said, it's a very sad day, and it really puts stuff in context, and it really enlightens us what we're up against, who are the people we're up against, and what we're doing, why we're protecting our borders, what we're protecting from.
Yep, true.
Yeah.
It's leading us to, I believe, to the end of the first phase of the hostage agreement with Hamas. And we all know that Trump administration right now is working very hard to finalize the second phase, and there is some serious negotiation. The Israeli government has changed the team of negotiation, and it's been led by Minister Ron Dremer, which is a very personal connection to Prime Minister Netanyahu. And together with Witkoff, they are trying now to make sure that they are actually releasing the remain of the hostages. As I told you last week, we are getting more and more indication that there are much more live signals from the hostages over there. We know right now that there is 21 men that are alive, that we got alive, which is important. Out of the 73 minus 6, that gives us 67 minus 4, 63. That means we have about 21 people that are alive. That's important, and I think we need to hurry up and release them as soon as possible. We also the shape and the condition that we got the previous guys, Ben Ami, Sharabi, and I forgot the third one. But we saw what was their condition. I hope that we will be able to close it soon.
Can you tell anything about what phase two, what will be some of the changes here? Or is that known yet?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
As you go into phase two, what can you tell us about
Yeah,
what to
well,
expect?
the negotiation right now is about whether you're going to have a non-war zone with Gaza. Who is going to rule Gaza? That's the main elements that everybody is dealing with. By the way, Hamas has indicated that they are not putting as a condition terms that they will rule Gaza. And I think this is a very big achievement,
Right.
especially coming from Egypt and Qatar. The question, Joe, is who will? And the bigger question, and I'm asking you all, we have a very important officer in the Israeli Defense Force sitting over here next to me. Will we allow to have military slash weapon slash terrorist running around Gaza under this new regime administration?
Yes.
I'm doubted. I don't know. I mean, it's your personal thought. Obviously, you are not representing the army over here.
I'm saying on a tactical and on an army level, operational level, I think we all learned our lesson. The fact that you have terrorists armed to their teeth right across the border with intentions, I think we all learned our lesson and what we can allow. How will we achieve it? I'm sure there's many ways to achieve the security of the people of Israel, but the army has learned its lesson about being prepared, about being willing to counterattack these sorts of groups. And I think phase two, whatever it will be, will have to include the keeping those borders secure, but and not in the way we used to do it in the previous times, in a new way, in a more aggressive way, to make sure that our people are safe.
And going back to what Ari said, if you remember, last week we spoke that the brigade has actually finished their mission of protecting in Gaza. And we had a very big ceremony together with all the soldiers and the commanders. The brigade itself is now actually preparing for their next mission. The 74 Battalion is still up on the north, but they are preparing to join the brigade. And I think that at the end of the day, we will go back. We will have to enter back into Gaza and making sure that we are eliminating this threat called Hamas and terroristic organization. Remember, Hamas is the big organization. The Jihad Islamic is the small one, but still an organization that is out there.
Yes.
And now that we have a chief of staff who is from armor, he'll know much better how to use the armor and use it to absolutely the full capacity and the full ability.
Yeah, but we just don't remember no one from what brigade he came, okay?
No. We like them all. As long as they're in the tanks, they're good.
Correct. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Correct.
You mentioned the ceremony.
Yep.
Tell us more about the ceremony, and here we can see some, right?
So as Roy said, the brigade finished its last deployment in the Gaza Strip. At the beginning of the ceasefire, actually marked the retreat of the brigade, and we stayed for a few more weeks to keep on protecting the borders. Something interesting about the place that the ceremony took place. This is actually the place where the brigade started the war on the 7th of October in the Tselim base. That's the morning of the 7th of October. That's where we gathered in this spot exactly. It's not
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating. It's at this spot exactly. We had tanks lined up. We got on our tanks and we rushed to the different kibbutzim near the Gaza Strip. So that was the ceremony was to show gratitude to the soldiers, to remember those who have fallen and those who are injured. We have many of those, unfortunately, and to look ahead at the missions up to come.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
This is the head of the brigade, Ol Volozhinsky. We did it. We made it even more special. We made sure that we have a soldier speak, a company commander, and the head of the brigade. That way, you get to hear from all the brigade. You hear from all the levels of the brigade, and obviously they all spoke beautifully and powerfully. And it really, these sort of ceremonies give you a lot of strength.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think that the first tank that showed up on the border on the 7th was from the brigade. Was Hapka, right?
Correct.
He was the commander. He died, but he was the commander
He was the Druze commander of the 53rd Battalion.
Right.
His tanks were actually the tanks that were stored in Tselim. And he was the first battalion from our brigade to rush down south, even though he was in Judea and Samaria at the time. to rush down south, get on the tanks, no matter where, wearing whatever, with uniform, without uniform, and get as
Right.
fast as possible to the kibbutzim. So that's right. That's exactly that's the same spot.
True.
Well, I've heard the story. Roy's took us through the events of the day and the 188. The everything that was, but to see the exact location where that was gathered and they initiated the response, the first response. So that was impressive.
Mm.
Let me ask. Things have been a lot in the news about the buildup in the Sinai Peninsula with Egypt. And I know that there are some tensions there. What exactly is happening from the Israeli perspective?
So the official approach of the Israeli government is actually saying that there are some minor issues by assembling the peace agreement, and those are in discussion together with the United States. I have to tell you that there is plenty of misinformation running on the social media, of footage of tanks drills, military operations, things that were filmed many years ago. And all of a sudden, they are getting publicity on the social media and spread and kind of bringing you a false.
It's almost as
False
it seems,
alarm.
Yeah,
it's in someone's intention
correct.
to create
Correct.
tension between countries.
And the weird part was, Gilla can tell you, Joe, the Israeli ambassador in Egypt all of a sudden published a message, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel immediately jumped over and said, "Whoa, relax! You are talking about videos that are not from the right and correct years." So
Right. And
there
some
are
were not even from the Sinai. Some were from inside
correct,
Egypt.
correct. Now,
Yeah.
if you remember, we spoke about it last week. Egypt has their own internal issues. First of all, on the Suez Canal. Beside of that, Egypt are dealing with some major issues with Ethiopia on the Nilus dam, and that's their focus. That's where they are. Yes, President Sisi didn't arrive to the invitation of President Trump. He had his own reasons. And remember, the Muslim brothers are one of those main opposition that can take a chance and try to do something over there. But I don't think, and again, it's not based on military intel, it's based on a very open source information that I'm using like everybody. I don't think that Egypt has an intention to break the peace agreement with Israel. I don't think that Egypt has the power to do something like that. They are very wounded. They are extremely bleeding money, and they have some issues internal. Having saying all of that, it's good that we are on high alert. Let's not forget what happened on the 7th of October.
Right.
And let's always be on, the slang, better to be safe than sorry.
Well, earlier the discussion was about that there's been a change in the chief of staff, and that things are changing. Before, Israel was not prepared when the October 7th came. There had been some relaxation of some of the protocols from earlier times, and but now Israel has to be on top, even if it looks like everything's good. The security cannot go down.
Absolutely.
The army has to be prepared. The army has to be equipped. The first responders have to be equipped. There has to be all the security and all the, because that's just the reality of the times we live in.
Joe, you're absolutely right. I have to tell you that I'm very fortunate to be in a lot of briefing that Ari and his team is doing to the soldiers. And I have to tell you, not because he sits next to me, I'm saying it to you every week. The 188 Brigade is very well disciplined. They are very well trained, ready. They are going down into the details of each and every mission. And when it comes to our brigade, I'm actually feeling very secure and positive. Regarding to the military and the chief of staff, obviously the new chief of staff that is coming from the armory division and not from the paratroopers, it's a good blessing because discipline and order will be much more in our nature behave. Is that right to say?
Yes.
And it's definitely going to affect. But Joe, remember, every military, every army, after a war, there is a kind of a downfall when it
Yes.
comes to energy, discipline, and all of that. I think it's going to be something that he will have to deal with, but I'm quite sure that he will succeed.
Ari, are you having any time now to go back to some regular training? Will you use this time for training, or the war was enough training?
It's true to say that the past year and a half was quite
Extreme
a good drill.
training.
Obviously, the troops are quite trained and professional. We do take the time to bring the tanks and the armed vehicles back to their natural state. There's a lot of maintenance to do during this time. It's very important. Logistics, refilling all the logistics, and when there is time, we also train, starting with little drills. But we are training and for various operations. So yes, as long as the time will allow us, we will keep on training. But now our main job is to be on alert for what's to come, if it will come.
And I imagine some rest also for the soldiers.
Yes,
That's
which is
very important.
Yeah.
Very important. Roy here next to me. So Roy is the head of the association. The association is part of what it does. Is actually is it's in charge of that side of the job, of the morale, of doing retreats, taking the soldiers also to speak about their experiences during the war, bring professionals. It's very important also on a mental level. And I think the association is doing a very good job when it comes to that. And we thank them very much that they're part of us and they support us. And this is exactly the time for that.
Great. Great. And Joe, this is why we need the help also of the viewers of GLC, right?
That's right. That's right.
Your contributions are priceless. It's just fantastic.
And what we were just talking about, the chance to get away and to relax for a moment. We used to we would send money over and they would rent a place. The brigade would come together. They would have a party. We didn't do anything but pay the bills. That's all we did. That was the only part. They got the band they wanted. They got the entertainment they wanted. They had the food they wanted. But it was a time that you could see a difference in the soldiers just in that moment to come to just have that moment. And it's not only the helmets and the bulletproof vest and those things that they need. It's all of this. These are the places that we can help, that we can be that encouragement, because the Israeli army spends its money on training the soldiers and on equipping the soldiers. Okay. They don't have the money that the American army has. They don't have the money. They don't have the facilities. And this is an area that we can step in and we can support, we can help. Before we run out of time, I do want to touch on Hezbollah, Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan border.
So in the north side of Israel, Israel is finalized their withdraw out from Lebanon. we have built six different checkpoints in the parameter of the Lebanon side under the approval of Lebanon government and United States and France. Those posts, their main reason is to make sure that Hezbollah is not returning to the border, and together with the Lebanon army that is trying to work together with the Israeli army using a third party to make sure that there is no terrorist activity that is coming from there. But yesterday, for example, Israel took out one of Hamas terrorists that was driving in Lebanon. 3 days ago, Israel took out a rocket launcher that was aiming towards Israel. So Israel is right now keeping the right to defend itself and more aggressive than it was before the 7th of October. I think it's very positive, it's very good, and we are also showing the world that we are, in a very chirurgic way, trying to pinpoint exactly where we need to be. Yes?
Go ahead.
No, please.
Okay. We are running out of time. I want to give Ari a chance if he wants to say anything more before we close out the program.
So first of all, I want to say thank you very much for your support, not only physically, I'm talking about especially spiritually supporting the people of Israel, supporting the country, and supporting the army. I feel that we are, again, I'm talking now for myself. I think we're fighting everyone's battle here.
Yes.
And I really hope you never need to feel this battle. That's what I pray for. And again, we will do whatever is needed to protect the people of Israel, to never see pictures like we saw today. I myself, in my office, I have a picture of the Bibas family.
True.
I put it up there on the 7th of October, and it hasn't come down since, and I have no plan of taking it down, to remind us what we are doing every day. And so thank you very much, and stay safe.
Just want to show it to you. That's the picture at Ari's office.
Very good.
You see Ari with his wife and kids on that side, and this is the Bibas family, just for you to see. It's amazing.
Listen, if you scan the image in the right-hand corner or go to JerusalemTempleStudy.com/David Fund, anything that you can donate is appreciated. Every bit of it goes to the army. There is no overhead, and please support Israel. Please support the IDF and support the Barak Brigade.
Once again, to all of you, Toda Rabba.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
been a great pleasure. Thank you very much, Joe. It's good to see you in Gilla.